Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast. Okay, so business idea. Apartheid.
So it's a necktie made with South African slave labor.
No. They're paid fairly.
Oh, they're just
It's
called...
just in an apartheid state. Well,
welcome.
this is the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast where Tyler gets us canceled and I get us mantled. The podcast called Alcohol Beyond This Point. This is episode 62.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Is there anything you'd like to say to me, Tyler?
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you. I'm very happy I had to lean you into that.
Yeah.
Can you describe to the audience what I'm wearing currently?
It's gonna be hard to justify, but imagine a black formal suit that you'd wear to like either a wedding or a black tie event with like the peaked lapels.
Yeah, this is a tuxedo jacket.
Yeah, tuxedo. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see the back of it. Okay, so tuxedo jacket with peaked lapels, a very tall top hat.
Yep.
Like a good. I mean, if you're a guy, that's like 12 inches.
It's a pretty big top hat.
Yeah.
And then what's around my neck?
Around your neck is an apartheid.
It's a necktie
with a beer koozie holder.
With a beer koozie made into it.
On the front of it, yeah.
So you can just hold your beer in your tie, which now that I'm wearing it for the first time, I've actually had this for like a while.
Yeah.
But now that I'm wearing it, this is not a great design, I feel like.
No, it's awful. It swings around like it's on a long pendulum. Like that's your next beer can go there. Not the beer you're drinking. That's your next beer.
Yeah, because now like
it gets all shit.
And you're like, oh, like tighten it up a little bit, and I'm like, no, the like necktie knot part is ornamental. It's on fucking Velcro around my neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not great.
Not a great piece of hardware, but engineering. Yep.
You need a very strong tie clip, and that might really bring it back.
Oh yeah, and it won't move.
Yeah.
So if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you can see my outfit for my day.
It's brilliant. And a gold watch. That's a solid gold Rolex.
It's a Rolex date day, serial number. Just kidding. I can't do the serial numbers, but it's the 18 karat gold one. And yeah, it's my 26th birthday. It says on the whiteboard here, Willows is in his late 20s and scientists don't know how.
We'll have to do something very special when you turn 28 because I think that's a significant number too.
Well, I'm not going to turn 28. 27 club. Baby.
Yeah, so how many episodes are we going to get to?
Oh, another probably 40, right?
I hope.
Maybe 52 if you show up every week, but realistically, probably like 40 episodes till I'm not here anymore.
Yeah, but there's going to be a downward spiral, so...
Oh, so like 300 episodes.
we just switched to daily.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I'm also... Oh, yeah. Also, I'm drinking this pack of Corona, which with a very, very, very dry lime... that I think if I cut open would be just
dusty.
This was a pack of Corona and a lime that my father got me for Christmas, which was 3 months ago.
Okay.
And then I put it on a shelf, like not in my main field of vision in my room, and I forgot about it until this morning.
Oh.
So thanks, Dad, for sponsoring this episode, but I fucked up your lime. But I am drinking your Corona, so why didn't I throw out the lime? Why did I insist on taking it into the photo and the podcast with me?
It's fine.
You'll never know. Anyway, so this might be, we haven't decided yet. This might be a little bit quicker of an episode because we have some friends scheduled to come over after this to drink alcohol. You know what my new favorite thing is?
What?
Getting like blackout drunk and then being in bed by midnight.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like as I get older?
Yeah. Or like doing some, legal prescription drugs that start with M at like noon and then having a fantastic day and being in bed by like 8 and waking up feeling fresh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty good.
Yeah, like do drugs. Yeah, like noon, like just like you said, and then go to bed, and then like sleep 12 hours, and then wake up at 8 a.m. and be
And
like,
do it
oh
again.
yeah, fuck yeah.
Have some pancakes, lazy brunch, and then eat some fish for breakfast and do it again.
Yeah, as I get older, I don't want to drink and party less. I just need to do it safer, because I think some of the things I used to do will now kill me.
Sure. Like
Just going for 3 days.
right.
I think would
like the wraparounds, yeah.
I think would quite literally kill me.
Yeah, possibly. Or at least it would feel that way.
Yeah. We used to like it's like, oh, it's 8 a.m. Okay, let's go back to the vendor, get more beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't keep up with that shit. If I'm going hard, I'm gonna be dead by morning. I need a few days.
Yeah. I was very hungover the other day, and then I ended up bartending, and I almost puked like 4 times. My favorite thing about the masks going away for COVID is I have never empathized with an anti-masker. I'm always just like, okay, you fucking pussies. Like, a furry can wear a fucking fursuit at a convention all day, but you can't wear a paper mask in Sobeys.
True.
The only time I do empathize with them is super hungover and it's hot and you're wearing a mask.
Yeah, and you're breathing your own hungover breath.
Yeah, I've almost puked. Like, I remember one day in the summer, because we were doing farmers markets outside, obviously, but we still had to wear the masks. So it was like 35 degrees. I'm wearing a fucking mask and I'm hungover as fuck. I had to like keep walking away and like doing a lap, like, and just taking it off and getting air. Otherwise, I was gonna fucking throw up.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Can
But
we not talk about throwing up to introduce our podcast? I feel like there's somebody out there that's just like on the edge right now with all this conversation because they're thinking about something.
Well, there goes my other 3 topics.
I'm so sorry.
if you
Can
would
we
have-
take a shot?
You want to start off with that?
Yeah.
Yep. So here's the we're transitioning to the earliest segment that we've ever had. This is the segment that we call Shot Caller. Usually happens at around the 20 or 30 minute mark, but this is the part where you, the
I'm
audience,
thirsty.
can pick the shot that we take. Today we're taking another shot of Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey just because I need to get rid of this extra. I have 2 bottles. We've taken it like 3 episodes in a row.
There's more.
Yeah, we'll probably finish this episode. So, thank you, Fireball, for sponsoring this episode.
Jorts.
I couldn't put my head up all the way back because my top hat hit the wall.
That's pretty good.
Oh, dude. So, today, or yesterday, actually, vaccines are gone. Vaccine mandate.
Yeah.
It's gone. We've eliminated it.
Yeah, so it's vaccine mandates today, and then it's masks in 2 weeks.
15th, yeah. So 13 days today. So I don't really, if people are listening from the future or they live in America, like this is not, I don't want to talk about the politics of it, but I want to talk about kind of the implications business-wise, because this is a business podcast after all.
Yeah.
The business implications behind, okay, so I'm a new member of the, or I am a member of the newly formed hospitality coalition formed in Manitoba here.
Okay.
So it's myself representing the Wine and Spirits Association. It's the head of the Brewers Association, the head of the Hotels Association, the head of the Culinary Federation, the head of food service, and then the head of restaurants, and then the head of food and beverage.
Okay.
So all those associations. And then this week's meeting we had the new Manitoba liaison for the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. And then we had the federal food and restaurant person as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was, it's kind of a heavy hitter.
I was gonna say that's pretty dope. You can be like the leader of the smallest category, and some of these guys are like, over massive industries, and you're in the same meeting.
Yeah,
with them.
I think, but between hotels and restaurants and food and beverage, they represent like 3,000 businesses in Manitoba. which
Yeah.
is like almost all of the.
Oh, it's a significant amount of GDP right there.
Yeah, yeah, and the like two or three of the people in the call, they're like heads of these associations. That's all they do for a living.
Yeah.
Like they had businesses, they retired, they just work raising money and talking to politicians and shit. So
Yeah.
anyway, so we had a conversation, all of us. This was Tuesday, so yesterday, about kind of the implications of just opening everything back up,
Yeah.
right? So they did a poll with their members, saying, are you going to keep restrictions? Are you going to tighten restrictions? Are you going to get rid of them like the government's saying? What are you going to do? And about 20 to 25% of businesses said they would be probably keeping the masks or the vaccines.
Okay.
Which by, removal means 75% of businesses said either
They'll go with the guidance.
they're going to go with the guidance or don't know yet or something.
Right.
Because I'm in the position where I have 4 more days, no, 2 more, 2 more days to make a decision before, because I'm only open on the weekends. So I have till Friday to decide exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards, just scrap everything. How I heard it, my friend that owns a couple bars in Winnipeg described it really well. He said, like, we've been obeying the recommendations of Manitoba of public health for 2 years,
Yeah.
and now they're recommending dropping the mandate.
Right.
So
Exactly. If you've been following the recommendations, it makes sense to
there's
continue so.
I agree, because now you're going against it by not.
Right.
Right. But I want to, so we were kind of talking about like, so day one, restaurants aren't going to be just filled again. It's not going to be back to like pre-pandemic levels.
No, but there'll definitely be a bounce, I think. I think there'll be a bounce back.
You think because people have been cooped up so long?
Yeah, and I think the mask off will probably be the biggest bounce back.
What do you mean?
Like when people no longer need to wear their masks in these places or check their vaccine passport at the door, like they can just go out and it feels normal. I think there's going to be a big bounce from that.
You don't think people are scared though?
No.
Really?
I think people are more sick and tired than they are scared. I think there's a minority that's scared, but that's probably less than 20-30%.
Okay. Because like I posed this question on my Facebook, and I had someone say something to the effect of, not like them, their girlfriend, a couple of their friends have all decided to not patronize any place that's not checking vaccinations.
Oh God, yeah, I wanted to bring this up because, like I've heard the side of like someone who's unvaccinated saying they're not gonna patronize any business that implemented a vaccine mandate.
Yeah.
And
but everyone did pretty much.
right.
So fuck off.
Well, except for like, 3 in the
those
city.
businesses that shall not be named, because I don't want to give them any publicity. But
yeah, and they're like, well, I'm gonna boycott every restaurant, and I'm like, my first reaction to that, I mean, I didn't say anything to this person because I'm generally am on the side of like, I don't know, we talk shit, we talk tough, but like I'm generally on the side of like maintaining good relationships rather than shitting on people's opinions.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a podcast, so I'll.
This is what
this is the fucking forum.
The entire point of this podcast is to air our to get rid of our fucking frustrations so we don't take it into the real world.
Right. So my first thought when this person said this was, I'm like, why the fuck do you make this about you? This has nothing to do with you. Like, the fact that this restaurant or bar followed public health guidance or the law, they did it either because they agreed with it or B, out of self-preservation.
Which either is fine.
Which either is fine and acceptable, morally or whatever.
Whatever.
Why didn't you take the vaccine? It was out of self-preservation. It was
Yeah.
out of either political inclinations, which means you did it for a cause that was not for your own interest, but because, or not for your own direct health benefits, but maybe for like your own political stance, which is again kind of to your own benefit because validating your politics, promoting your politics is for your own interest.
Of course. Yeah.
So no matter how you fucking boil it down, it's for your own interest.
You did it to try and get that Trump retweet.
Right. So
even though he's vaccinated.
So the restaurant closed for their own interest.
Yeah.
You didn't get vaccinated for your own interest. Now the rules changed, and now they open back up in their best interest.
And now you're trying to punish
and
them
you're
for
like
that.
and you're like, fuck you for doing things that's good for you, business. Like, what moral stance are you taking? Like, there is no conversational gray area here. Like, it's not an issue of morality. You're just being a stubborn ass bitch. Like, you're just fucking whining. You're that kid who's like, he stole my toy. Why?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not yours. It's like, it's a public use toy. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I see it.
and
It's
it's
like a
like-
preschooler screaming about Legos.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it happened more on the anti-vax side. Like, I think there is people that got the vaccination.
And I will say
just-
I think it's equal on both sides of the vax and the anti-vax.
I don't know if it's equal, but there are people that got the vaccination just to post the picture of them getting it, just to seem high and mighty,
Right, yeah.
because they want to be that like higher
Yeah.
moral authority. There absolutely were people like that.
Absolutely.
There were people like me that generally believe in vaccines and then also wanted to go to the pub. That's why I got it.
Yeah.
I don't care politically either way. I've gone, like, for instance, I went to a wedding with a couple unvaccinated distant family members of mine, and we had a couple drinks,
It's fine.
and it was fine. Like, it's fucking doesn't matter.
You
Anyone, and
did you make sure to shed on them?
yeah, perfect. And I've said this before, what I'm about to say, and I will. I've been challenged on this, and I will stick to it. Is that anyone who didn't get the vaccine on like a political reason, that is someone I will not do business with, and I don't want to hire.
Sorry, they got the
Okay,
vaccine.
no, like didn't.
They did
like,
not get the vaccine
how-
because of politics.
Fucking 90% of the people that I listen to that didn't get vaccinated
Did it for politics.
have no fucking idea why. It's just because
That's what Tucker Carlson.
that's
told
what
them.
Tucker Carlson is telling them.
Yeah.
They don't
Who-
have a
who
fucking
got vaccinated immediately. By the way,
Yeah, they don't have a fucking opinion either way.
like 100% of the Fox staff. Fox requires vaccinations
Yeah.
in order for you to work there, and
Yeah.
then they talk shit about vaccine requirements, which is, I mean, beyond.
Well,
Hilarious,
You've said
but
it
it's
before. The entire right was pro-vaccine while Trump was like, "We're gonna roll. My Trump is bad. We're gonna roll these vaccines out as fast as we can."
It's plan.
They were all for it, and then Biden gets in, and then they're against it, right?
Yep.
Like, it's all this fucking bullshit. And a bunch of people I've talked to in real life, like people I know that are anti-vaccine, and you're like, why? They're like, well, look at this fucking Facebook group about. I'm like, no, but like,
Why are you against it?
why are you? I don't care about what other people are saying. Why, like, and it's just these people have
globalists.
yeah, these people have no fucking opinions of
George
their.
Soros and all his microchips.
They have no opinions of their own, right?
No.
And those people, I said something somewhat controversially that sparked a few people blocking me.
Nice.
Said something to the effect of like, I will not be taking interviews with those people at any of my companies.
Oh yeah.
And you know, in a few years, like as of right now, I won't hire anyone that's unvaccinated just because of the industry I work in.
Yeah.
Like I work in the hospitality industry and I want my customers to feel safe, you know, but things might change in the next 3 to 5 years or longer where, you know, that's not even something we're thinking about anymore because it's so far in the past. But as of right now, that's kind of the position I'm in, is that these fucking stubborn people, like they're just jumping on a bandwagon. And like I said, there are people on the left, I hate that it's the left is vaccinated in my mind and the right is unvaccinated.
Because it's true.
Well, we do the Wolseley Farmers Market, which is in Hippie Town,
Right.
Manitoba.
I guess there's a percentage of the left that's unvaccinated, but it's not nearly as high, and it's not a part of the politics.
We had a ton of hippies from Wolseley that were refused to get vaccinated because they've been refusing to get vaccines for 40 years because they think they cause
Right.
autism. They think that fucking Pfizer has been trying to poison people.
Which is not untrue.
Which is not, yeah, they've paid many settlements for like lying about medicine and shit.
Yeah,
right?
welcome to pharmaceutical, baby.
Well, it was funny because the left used to, like the radical left, let's say, in quotations, used to be anti-vaccine, I think. A lot of them.
The left?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Like the whole hippie movement and everything.
It flips in terms of which era you're talking about. Yeah, they're like anti-pharmaceutical, anti-government, anti-authoritarian.
And now this authoritarian governments are mandating you give money to big pharma, and then they're supporting that.
So here's an interesting perspective that I kind of heard broke down on the Bastards pod this last week of how basically how Christianity was hijacked by capitalism in terms of like the
Well, Jesus was a communist.
yeah, literally.
Literally.
But where did that rewrite happen? From where Jesus is a capitalist, from Jesus was a commie. Like
Catholic Church?
no, it was a conscious effort by the robber barons.
Okay. To kind of pervert.
Right. So they picked a pastor that was like kind of the first megachurch pastor, and he was a believer. He wasn't a grifter. Like he 100% believed what he was doing. And he believed in like the prosperity gospel as it's known today, which is like God wants you to be rich. And it's like the meek shall inherit the earth eventually. Like after the capital gets their way with you. Like
Well, yeah, nothing about the story of Jesus.
nothing about anything about
Remember, he was like flipping tables at bankers and
only
shit.
time Jesus got violent was against capitals.
Yeah.
Which is like that doesn't matter.
No.
It's revisionist history, right?
And then he was murdered by militarized police.
right.
But back the blue,
Right.
right?
Yeah, no, it's there's nothing in the Bible that says capitalism is Christian, but that's been hijacked, and you need to understand the origins of that story of like how America is inherently wealthy and inherently godly because it's wealthy, because it's prosperous, and because it's prosperous is because God wants it to be prosperous, and that's how that works. It's not they're prosperous because they rape, pillage, plunder, and kill and destroy. It's because they're blessed by God. Like that narrative,
Just like Russia.
right? That narrative was created at a certain time. That was not always like that. It used to be like 99% of like clergy, of pastors, of Protestants, of Lutherans, of you name a denomination, were all hard left and mostly communist.
Yeah, like these religious communes and shit, right? Like that's how it used to be.
Yeah, like think about. See, I grew up Mennonite, and I'm like listening to this shit is blowing my mind on so many levels because I've never really thought about the fact that my the way that I grew up was deeply communist. Like I grew up being taught by my grandparents, by my uncles, by my parents, by everyone that I knew, that being rich was inherently evil.
Yeah,
Being
I remember
being rich meant you were robbing someone.
a story you told me about like that always stuck with me was like one of your uncles or friends or something like that had a higher paying job that was less physical work.
Yeah.
And he quit to get a lower paying job that was more physical work because like his friends were making fun of him that he didn't work physically enough.
Yeah, I mean that kind of details my fucking life.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I was a business development manager for a technology company,
Your family's like
my grandpa just kind of glazed over and he like didn't even want to talk to me about my life because he didn't understand it. I mean, not that my grandpa's a great person, he's a great man, but like he just didn't fucking understand it. Like his understanding of wealth was the rich guy he used to work for that would walk into the factory with his pockets literally spilling over with hundreds, and he would like pass out cash to employees just as like, here you go, buddy, thank you. He was a benevolent rich man, but still worth 800-900 million, and his average employee was making $2 above minimum. So like that was the understanding of growing up, that to be rich, you had to sacrifice your morality and you had to sacrifice your godliness. Period. Full stop. No exceptions. And if you look at more conservative Mennonites, Hutterites, Amish, they're all from the same sect, right? They all develop basically compartmentalized communes, right? Religious communes. It's extremely common. Like even fascists. When fascists want to create, some camp or some organization, some group, some militia, they just invent communism and implement it for themselves.
Yeah, I love, and then the right-wing people that are like, well, that's not communism, that's like just communal living. That's like, wow.
Cricket.
Yeah,
yeah, I fucking love it. But that I grew up communist.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Literally until this week. It's a fucking revelation. It's hilarious. And I And then at some point I got exposed to the extreme, godless capitalism, which is like everything that is wrong and everything that you've been taught is inherently evil because like you've been taught this, twisted version of reality. And then I had to reconcile with that. So I've been to both ends of the spectrum, and I'm trying to find a fucking center. And it's really, really, really confusing to think about this. But the vaccine idea is now on, my entire, where I grew up, the Bible Belt, they're all hard anti-vax.
Yeah, very.
But they've always been, one of the core tenets of Christianity is anti-state, because state by definition is outside of God's will.
Which is funny of where
state replaces God.
Christian America has ended up.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Right? This has been bastardized at some point, and it's fucking genius. Yeah. Whoever did this shit, it did it very... Nobody's ever combined church and state while removing religion and creating a powerful state, but somehow making people believe that church and state still exists.
Well, I mean, the Soviet Union was atheist, but...
Well, that's what I'm saying. They created it by juxtaposing...
Well, I guess the state is God, almost.
Right. Yeah. They American state is God, and the Soviet communists are anti-God.
Do you see that
because
thing?
They're communists, we're capitalists, we're the opposite of them, therefore we're godly, therefore they're anti-religion.
I posted
Genius.
I posted that thing in the group chat today. People polled in France, over 50% of them still would describe Russia as communist.
Yeah.
It's
they're not.
The marketing, hey?
Yeah, it's just state capitalism, or whatever you want to say, cronyism.
Yeah, feudalism almost.
Feudalism.
We should mention that between last episode and this episode, Russia invaded Ukraine.
Yep. Yeah, we have... Well,
I don't really have any super spicy takes. It's hard to take a side. I don't want to piss anybody off by saying I don't have much sympathy for... Here's the thing. I have sympathy for the civilians, obviously. The Ukrainian people aren't their government, right?
No.
But at the same time, we were on this show 9 months ago talking about how our Canadian government was selling weapons to neo-Nazi groups that have infiltrated the Ukrainian military.
Yeah.
Something like 80% of the fucking Ukrainian military has just been fucking turned into this neo-Nazi, what is it, an armed, it's like a guard of the military. Is not, they're flying
it's not 90%, but yeah, it's a considerable
but
portion
they're
of the
flying
military.
Iron crosses and swastikas and shit, and it's just oh, okay. And then we were talking about that a year ago, how Canada has been training them.
Yeah.
And then Putin comes in and he's like, yeah, I'm going to kill all these Nazis.
I'm going to denazify Ukraine.
And it's okay, yeah, this is...
Granted, that wasn't why he did it, but it was a part of the narrative.
Yeah, no, I know. And I'm not pro-Putin at all. I'm not... even though I think he's a bad... You ever see those pictures him on horses, just shirtless and shit?
Yep.
He's a badass, but if we're... But come on, anyway.
He's a hyper-masculine authoritarian. I mean,
yeah, but
what fascist doesn't love that?
I'm an anarchist, obviously, so I don't like either side here. There's no... War is bad. It's bad for business, and it's just bad for people.
And Ukraine completely invited it with flirting with...
Well, the U.S. instigated this.
Oh, absolutely.
And now they're sanctioning, in quotations, Russia, but they're still buying Russian oil.
Well, it's because if they stop buying Russian oil...
Then how is that a sanction?
Well, yeah, that's the... It's actually impressive what's happening this time around, because there's voluntary boycotts of Russian products now that's happening, and American companies that are divesting that don't legally have to. Yeah,
90%. I heard the largest Russian bank lost 90% of their foreign investments or something.
Yeah, it's the ruble is crashing.
The
stock market's been frozen for 3 days. Their interest rate went from 9 to 20% overnight.
One ruble is now worth less USD than one Robux, which is the fictional currency in Roblox, the children's game.
That's pretty cool.
So one Robux is now worth more than one ruble. Fun fact. That's real. That's a real thing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could get into a fucking foreign policy rant here for a while.
It's
But,
not. I don't think there's any. We're not bringing any insight to this. I don't think. Like there's.
well, I would disagree with that. I think
I'm smart about foreign policy. I'm not. I'm sitting here in a top hat.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying
I'm a robber baron.
I've paid attention to. I've basically listened to every podcast from like left, center, and center right. I don't listen to anything far right because it's just fear mongering, hate propaganda
You should.
for entertainment value.
No, to get radicalized.
Unironically?
Unironically.
Okay, sure, I'll get right on that.
You ever like? Sometimes I'm listening to something. Not ironically, but I'm listening to it for like research purposes. Like I'm listening to some like Alex Jones shit, and then like somebody walks in. And I'm like, I swear, this is like, this is just,
And you quickly switch it to porn.
yeah, purely because I'm making a YouTube video,
Yeah.
not because I'm like actually listening to this.
It's like, sorry, I was watching porn.
Yeah, damn it.
Shit. No, I was gonna say, I know this isn't like big revelation, but like if you haven't been paying attention to everything, you may not quite have seen this or understand this. If you've listened to everything, fucking tune this out, skip ahead 90 seconds. But it seems like the most like the biggest overarching fuck up of this whole thing was the fact that Putin made a lot of assumptions about the Ukrainian people and about his people and about like the fact that his people would just kind of do and believe what he said they should do
Yeah.
and believe.
It's so sad.
He's losing the information war dramatically.
It's so sad to see these Russian troops being like, we were told that the Ukrainians wanted us to liberate them. Like what we've
Yeah.
been told for the last 18 months is nothing what they're telling us now that we're on the ground. And,
yeah, because as soon as propaganda meets reality, it falls apart.
Yeah,
period.
yeah, and it's easy to have propaganda when you're kind of insular. Like Russia, you know, has a very, very strong national identity, and they kind of rely on themselves rather than foreigners. Like it's not like, I don't know what the statistics are, but you know, like somewhere like Germany, something like 50% of their fucking people work in different EU nations,
Yeah.
and like commute there by train every day and then commute back, right? And it's like. I mean, Germany obviously has a strong national identity that led to the last two conflicts. But Russia, you know, doesn't have is very insular.
Yeah.
They're very much like China that way, right? Where they're
Yeah.
like, we're the empire, like the Russian Empire, and that's what matters.
And
kind
that's
of
what
thing.
Putin's been trying to do for the last, as long as he's been in power, effectively, has been insulating. He's creating a more like internal nationalist economy. That's what he's been trying to do.
And then you know what's funny is like now that SWIFT has like kicked them out, they joined like China's version of SWIFT,
Yeah.
which actually strengthens China and Russia's trade even further.
Yeah.
Which is what, and now China can buy their fucking oil at nothing. And it's
They have them over a literal barrel.
no matter who wins or loses this conflict,
China
wins.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Which the U.S. better fucking get control of if they ever want to be around much longer. Like, which I hope they don't. Fuck them.
So I see this going one of two ways. Like there's the Putin wins and he really fucks up Ukraine and just basically destroys Ukraine long term.
And takes those 3 provinces and then
Right.
yeah.
Like, but he thought that he could basically run in with a shock force
He thought it'd be over by now.
and destabilize the government. Government would leave. He would install a pro-Russian government, and Ukraine would basically effectively be a part of Russia, just like Belarus.
So basically, what the U.S. has been doing to like all these Caribbean nations and Central American nations, and-
Unsuccessfully.
what do you mean Panama, Grenada,
They're mostly unsuccessful.
Puerto Rico.
I mean, they're successful
Hawaii.
in assassinating people, but they're not very successful in like setting up the new order as they want
You know how
it
many
to be.
fucking. You know how many fucking South American countries that are just like, yeah, please pay me in USD.
Yeah.
Even when we were in Mexico, they're like, please give me the USD.
It's not because they're pro-US. It's because their own currency is fucking collapsed.
Yeah, because the U.S.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I know the whataboutism is abundant here, but I just want to say specifically for Putin, his his idea of thinking that Ukraine is going to roll over is not reality.
Yeah, Zelensky has a fucking shotgun in the streets. Like,
Yeah, so that was a surprise to everybody. Nobody thought he would be that guy.
what I absolutely hate though is these fucking Americans, mostly Americans, but all around the world, that are basically like glorifying this like I don't know if you've seen some of these, like they're fucking editing Zelensky, his face over like Marvel characters and shit.
Oh, nice.
And like it's like Avengers Assemble, and then it's like Ukraine and fucking USA, all these other whatever. And it's like there are people dying. Like it's these fucking Americans.
I mean, they're fighting. You got to look at it this way though. They're fighting a propaganda war, and he has to be the hero.
There's a meme where it's like I wish I could stop living through like, you know, giant world events, and then it's like this really nice suburb in America.
Yeah, where nothing's happening.
Where nothing's happening, and it's like, yeah, but it like
you're totally insulated.
Yeah,
and it's fine.
If you
Gas
know
went up 3 cents.
If you know on this show, anytime we take a shot for shot caller that's under 40% alcohol, we take a second one. So this is our second
And when
shot.
the bottle's almost done, we take a third.
Well, and we're also drinking after this, so
fuck it.
Tyler graciously agreed to come do this early so that we could drink with all our friends that will show up, which is not many of them probably.
We have so many friends. What are you talking about? We got like 60 people coming.
That's against
No, it's not.
COVID.
Nope.
Group. You can only have one group plus one other family unit.
Really?
No, but that leads me into my next topic, which is my same topic from 30 minutes ago, before I said I don't want to get political and then went into a political rant.
Oh, for sure.
Is you were saying that you think the amount of people that have been like waiting to be able to go out outweighs the group of people that are going to be scared to go out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe. I don't know if I think. I don't know.
The people that are scared are going to stay scared.
No,
like on the left, I think there's a much higher degree of fear on the left of the people that are double, triple vaxxed.
Yeah,
those people have it's there's polling on it. Like it seems to be a settled fact that if you're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, boosted, whatever, you're more fearful of going out in public and doing things in normal life than people that are completely unvaccinated.
Yeah, but that's kind of a
protection.
That's kind of a weird one, because the people that are completely unvaccinated are just stupidly confident. Like they're confident in the correct.
They're almost
thing.
Nihilistic.
Not
like
really,
it's fine. I accept the risk. They're like, it's whatever.
Well, a lot of them don't even understand the risk, though. A lot of them.
Well, that doesn't affect the question, though.
Yeah, but like they're not scared because they don't think COVID's real. Some of them. Like that's a different equation.
I would say there's a portion, but I think overall, majority of people that are scared to go out will be on the left. People that are triple vax and haven't been going out to this point, even though they could.
Okay.
You're going to see a bounce from the people that were not able to.
From the unvaccinated people.
Which is not that big of an amount. But you're going to see the biggest 9%. Bounce from the center of the people that were just kind of like, like I could go out today, but you know what? I'm going to like, the right thing to do right now is just kind of like stay home and keep it low key.
And now that the government's messaging is we're back to normal, they're going to be like, oh, we're back to normal. And then they go out.
Instead of being low key, let's celebrate.
Okay,
like,
well,
I think there's going to be that celebratory bounce back.
You know what? I hope you're right, because I have a bar that hasn't been making money for 2 years. Yeah. So I
feel like there'll be some amount of bounce back, at least enough to be noticeable for the business owners.
Yeah, and then because I have an employee, a bartender that's immunocompromised.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then that's scary for her. Like she's being like, hey, what are we going to be doing? And then I'm like, you know, the government, literally the app that we use to verify if fax cards are valid is only going to be supported for 30 days, apparently.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if I wanted to check them, it's like,
you can't.
You can't, right? So
here's where I would lean to in that situation, where it's like, you have to look at the signs, because I agree with the right and the left both in the sphere of masks do nothing 90% of the time.
Well, not the way they were, because cloth masks don't do anything, and taking off a mask at a table for 2 hours and then putting it on to stand up and pay doesn't do fucking anything.
Exactly. I'm saying the mandates as they exist the mask usage as it is done, like, I'm not saying that in theory, I'm saying in reality, the mask mandate doesn't do anything. Especially with Omicron, it does literally nothing. And number two, vaccine mandate within restaurants, whatever, for stopping super spreaders. The reduction of, like, the prevention of infection when you have a vaccine is not, that protection is not that high. Like, it's decent, but it's not.
Why do we do all this?
Security theater. Like we've said before, like, they're half measures anyways. Like, if there is someone infected with Omicron in your bar, it does not matter if they are vaccinated or not, if they're wearing a mask or not. Everyone in that bar is going to get infected, or at least some amount of them, period. And the fact is, when they say the vaccine requirements are gone, the mask mandates are gone, nothing fundamentally changes.
It's just marketing.
It's marketing, it's optics, it's your personal emotions about it. It's on the margins you'll see a change in the current state of things. We have half measures and we have a hyper contagious disease. Like, your fucking cloth mask, even your KN95, is not going to do you any good if you have touched that KN95
Once.
since you've put it on.
Yeah, it's not effective anymore.
And if you touch anything after you take it off, if you've adjusted it one time, if you have not washed your hands before or after you've adjusted it, you've negated the use.
Do you think that
Period.
these people on the left, these, I won't say like average people, but do you think like these left-wing pundits are aware of that?
Some of them.
And just
Some.
purposely not saying it to people, like the same way Tucker Carlson is vaccinated and saying not to get vaccinated, the same way.
I
like
think it's...
Sink Unger is fucking knows master and effective but tells people to wear.
Like you said before, it boils down to security theater. It boils down to virtue signaling. It boils down to compliance for political statement. Like, it's the same on both sides. Being anti-mask and being pro-cloth mask is the same in my books.
That's an interesting statement.
It's psychologically, it's the same space because they're both anti-science.
Are you gonna wear a mask in the grocery store after the mandate's done?
Fuck no.
No?
Absolutely not. What's the point? I know they don't work. Like, in the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, my mom taught me proper mask usage. She's a healthcare aide. She's properly MD educated. She taught me proper usage and procedure. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
It was so many steps, and like, it was the psychological difference of, like, you can't touch your face, your hands can't go near your face, you can't adjust your mask, you can't move it, you can't, like,
if you have a beard, your mask doesn't seal.
if you even have stubble, any facial hair whatsoever, mask 0% effective. So, like, keep all these things in mind. Like, and if you have one person in a grocery store that has Omicron or Delta and has a beard but is wearing a mask and is triple vaxxed, that person could potentially spread it to 15 other people, and those 15 other people could bring it home and spread it to their families. Like, there is no functional use of any of these measures at this point. It's not based in science anymore. But like you said, there's a large segment of the population, like you were even talking about, hesitancy of, even when the government says it's okay, people still don't want to back off. Imagine if they're like, okay, well, Delta's here, fuck it.
Yeah, a bunch of my Twitter feed is people that are being like, retweet this if after the 15th you're still going to wear your mask.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's where it becomes political. Now, those people are going to be, in my mind, in the same category as an anti-masker.
Which is funny.
Because it's the same thing.
It's
the same calculation.
I think I'm still going to wear my mask.
It's just fear versus defiance.
I think I'm still going to wear my mask in, like, banks and stuff.
Just because it's a fuck you?
Because I think that's, like, I remember the bank by my house growing up used to have a big sign that said no face coverings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there was a bar down the street that was kind of shady, like the Curtis there.
Yeah.
that sometimes at night there'd be some riffraff in the RBC right there.
Yeah.
And they had a big fucking sign that said no face coverings. And then they took down that. They've had that sign since since 1996 till 2019. And then they basically crossed it out and said face cover, like no face cover.
Yeah,
They didn't actually
face
do that.
coverings required. Yeah.
Basically, they changed it from no face coverings absolutely to you need a face covering.
Absolutely. And you know what? Did crime spike?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So
reevaluate your fucking security theater, baby.
Because
the guy that's gonna rob your bank isn't gonna be like, oh, they have a sign.
Yeah. So here's something. Our friend Joel, he's a character, but he's the head of the Manitoba's bartending association here.
Most skilled bartender.
He's the most skilled bartender I've ever met in my life, and he's also the story I always tell about describing him. He's a character, but this one time, we were at an event together, and I had a couple of my bottles of wine on the table. And he said something like, I forgot what it was, but he said something like weird. And I'm like, what? And then he looked at me, took my bottle of wine off the table that was mine, started walking backwards, like keeping eye contact with me, with like weird hands, kicked open the door with his foot as an Uber pulled up. And he went in backwards into the Uber and it fucking left. And I'm like, how?
It's like a James Bond moment.
How did you, what are you talking about?
Yeah. How'd you time that?
How did you time that? How did you see without turning your head?
How do you know the door was there? How do you know the car was there?
You just stole my bottle. Anyway. But I was texting him a couple days ago, right after I was posted about asking about what restaurants were doing about masks and stuff. And he told me sometime in the 2000s or the 90s, he went to a speakeasy in Toronto, like this little underground bar, right? And they had a sign on the door that was like house rules, and it was all these rules. And one of them was you can't talk to a woman unless she talks to you first.
Nice.
Okay, so he's at the bar. He's getting a shot or whatever, and he talks to the bartender. He's like, do you actually enforce these? Because I'm a bartender, and fucking people just talk at the rail. Like, it's just not an issue, right? Bartender says, no, we don't enforce it, but having the rules on the door, the assholes never come in.
Right.
Because they just read it and then leave.
Which is my absolute favorite, it's my number one reason for going to gay bars.
I like that too, yeah.
Because fucking aggressive alpha males don't go to gay bars. Because they're like, I'll just get hit on and then I'll feel gay.
But so...
those guys don't show up and it's great. Everyone has a better time.
But so in true Joel fashion, he refused to elaborate.
Yeah.
But what I gained from that parable, I would call it, is that having the vaccine and mask requirements kept out the crazies this entire time.
Yeah, but the crazies have money.
Well, that's where it changes, right? Yeah.
And they're not the crazies.
So here's the thing. Not every unvaccinated person is insane, but every insane person is unvaccinated.
Fair point. It's 9% of our province at this point. But
yeah. It's the vocal minority.
Yeah. I think the number of people that'll come out that were unvaccinated previously and now feel free to move around and are celebrating it, that's going to be maybe half, maybe a little bit more. That's considerate. You take that segment and you break it down. That's going to be the progressive and moderate of that segment of unvaccinated will come out. The hard on the right will never come, period. Or for some amount of time until they get tired of being mad. Like some fucking
yeah.
Like some fucking childish bully on the playground.
Well, just like these fucking people that are like, I'm never going to a restaurant that doesn't require vaccination. But it's like, well, what if they never do again?
Right.
Like, it's never gonna
they'll just get tired of it.
You're just never gonna go out.
Yeah. No, that'll quietly go away.
And I asked, I'm not sarcastically, are you just never gonna go out again? Yeah. And I don't think I got an answer, but it's like,
yeah, it's like what is it, Hobby Lobby, Hobbyland in the States? They don't use barcodes because they think it's a mark of the beast.
Okay.
They think it's
what is this?
Of the devil.
Hobby Lobby?
Yeah, it's like
what is it?
They're a 9-figure company.
What is it though? What do they do?
Like they sell hobby supplies, like
Oh,
fucking
it's like Michael's?
arts and crafts and
Oh, okay,
paints
word,
and
word, word, okay.
whatever. It's a massive franchise. They're U.S. wide, thousands of locations.
And they don't use barcodes?
They don't use barcodes.
What do they do?
It's manual inventory
Isn't that
by
the,
description of item.
wouldn't that be the worst?
Yes.
Huh?
They lose a lot of money by decreased efficiency because they believe that it's the mark of the beast.
So what's your point?
People are fucking idiots. That's my point. Like there will be some portion of people that will stick to their guns to their own detriment to death. Period.
Okay, so there might be people that never go to a bar
There will
again,
be that percentage of people. It will be less than 5%.
and there's nothing I can do about that.
No. Why bother?
Yeah.
And they've been like that. They've always been like that. They've always been there.
This is just some...
like fuck them.
This is just one more thing to...
Like
hook.
talk about marketing. Your market is not 95% of the population. Your market is some small percentage.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, of course.
those people, like let's say you lose 1% of your 5% that comes in. That's insignificant. Doesn't matter. So
It's just like, I want to do what's best and safest for my customers.
follow the
And,
guidance. If you've been
and,
following the guidance, continue to follow the guidance.
yes.
Period.
and that's I think the decision I've reached now is, that's what I'll be doing. But then also, what's less important, or what's actually more important, but less important to me personally, but probably more important to the business, is that optics matter a lot.
Yeah.
And like there was a couple times during the pandemic in the heat of it that I closed the bar voluntarily because we weren't making any money,
Yeah.
but I marketed it as I want to keep people safe. And that got me more clout.
I was gonna say you're literally saying the thing that nobody else is saying.
That's what this podcast is about.
So props to you, because so many fucking companies are virtue signaling and
Optics
just
matter.
won't admit it.
Yeah, optics matter. It's
yeah,
marketing.
sure. Yeah,
Virtue
absolutely it
signal.
does.
Virtue signaling.
Signaling is done because it works.
Virtue signaling. At the end of the day, done by a corporation, is about fucking money. It's why every single fucking Pride Month, at the end of Pride Month, every corporation changes their fucking
Yep.
logo back from the gay flag, right?
Yep. Who wants a rainbow logo? If
What is
we all
it?
have rainbow logos, it's like
What is it? Fucking well, there's a bunch of companies, but like Pepsi will change their fucking logo to the rainbow, except Pepsi Russia and Pepsi Saudi Arabia
Pepsi Mexico.
and those Twitters don't,
Yeah.
because being gay is illegal.
Yeah.
Not in Mexico, but in Russia and Saudi Arabia, definitely. Saudi Arabia, they kill you for it.
It's fine. But if you're trans, it's okay.
In Saudi Arabia, no.
Yeah, literally.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
We should go there.
So it's actually look
Wait.
this up. It's a
Wait,
trend
wait.
in places where it's illegal to be gay. If you are a feminine presenting transsexual man,
I don't think we say transsexual anymore.
LGBT
I think it's just trans.
T. Well, it's shortened. You're shortening the word. It's fine.
I know. I think they changed it though.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
This is like the show.
Semantics.
We
We get canceled.
on it, like Tyler and I, unironically, this is not a joke. The thing I'm gonna say after this is a joke, but we are unironically like pretty woke.
As woke as it reasonably gets.
Like we are pretty far left.
Pretty far woke.
Yeah, we are like very accepting to the point where we like call out and stop other people from not being accepting.
1,000%.
And like
I fucking fought a dude because he was like, yeah.
yeah, we're pretty far that way. And then what I was gonna say is, so they just confirmed that being into trans people isn't gay, because it's illegal to be gay but not to be trans.
Correct.
So it is straight to hook up with a trans woman.
Yeah. In those countries.
Thank you, Saudi Arabia, for fucking.
Yeah.
You put my. I can fucking.
Even if
I can tell my daddy was wrong about me.
like there's a, I mean, I've heard examples, interviews.
Not gonna
like,
acknowledge that one. Okay.
Granted, these are. This is anecdotal, but people that are presenting as female, trans, because being in a gay relationship was illegal, so they're like,
So they
I
would,
guess
like-
I'll transition
That's interesting.
in order to like live the life I want to live.
I know
Yeah.
there's.
So there's like a significant uptick of trans people in these anti-gay places.
Because they're like, that's just a woman.
It's
so
a
they're like,
workaround.
That's interesting. Suspicious.
I say don't legislate sexuality
Yeah.
or gender identity,
Yep, for sure.
period, and we'll all just be happier for it.
One of my favorite things is angry, or just that edgy teenager that identifies as a attack helicopter now like scared as he's been drafted into the Ukrainian war.
That's awesome.
Yeah, transphobes have one joke, and that's it. And it's just variations on the joke.
Yeah, have you seen the Texas?
Oh
law?
my god, don't even get me started on this shit. They can like CFS can take your kids if your kid ends up gay, or I guess trans.
Don't say gay, Bill. Basically, it has people like it goes as far as if a teacher in a school is gay and they mention the fact that they're married to someone of the same sex in a classroom, they have reasonable grounds to fear for their job and to be sued and possibly not criminally but like civilly sued.
Well, I saw they could like take your kids. Granted, I didn't read the whole bill, but like CFS or whatever the American one is can take your kids if they're like trans, because that means you abused them if they ended up trans.
Yeah, no, they're widening the definition of child abuse to include being under anything trans affirming behavior,
and I saw
or whatever.
They're also making puberty blockers illegal.
Yeah.
Which
is fair because those have not been actually properly tested or screened.
I thought
whatsoever.
To my knowledge, they don't actually like they just prevent it. It doesn't. You're not putting any chemicals in. You're not putting any. It's okay.
You're not introducing alien ingredients. You're preventing puberty.
Giving a 8-year-old boy estrogen before puberty might not be a good idea. As someone who has trans friends and is very in favor of trans rights. Giving a child
just physiologically
giving a child prepubescent children especially chemicals that aren't, and I don't know if that's propaganda or people actually do that. Are they actually transitioning kids, or is that like a Tucker Carlson
it's mostly puberty blockers, but it's on the fractional margins. You're talking about 1% of 1%.
Yeah.
You're talking about a tiny sect that they're demagoguing. That's all it is.
Yeah, which is how fucking
it's
shit works,
fucking
right?
talking points. But
okay, so
it does happen.
That's probably not a great idea.
No, it's not.
Puberty blockers, as long as they're safe, that's the caveat. Obviously, you don't want to.
Which is not yet. My point is not yet studied, proved, or understood. Because if they anyone that's tried to introduce like a clinical, like a double-blind trial, clinical study, whatever, has been told you're anti-trans, you're homophobic, fuck you, you can't do that. Like Rogan has talked about this a lot, which has nearly got him canceled. So I guess here we get canceled again. But there hasn't been scientific studies on that, period. It's too new. There's no long-term studies. It's not feasible. Like, it's not possible. It hasn't even been happening for long enough to have a long-term study.
Here's a good here's a good one that let's see if I can get this right. There's a trans Olympic swimmer.
Yeah.
Female to man. Yeah, female to man, who, because he's trans, they make him swim with the girls still because he's a biological woman.
Yeah.
But he's on a fuckload of testosterone.
Right.
And he's just beating them by like 10 seconds, everyone.
Jesus.
And he's like, please, can I compete with the men? And they're like, no, you're not a real man.
Okay, so here's the flip side.
Transphobic stuff coming back to bite them is funny.
Well, here's the flip side. There's a male to female trans person competing in weightlifting.
Yeah, that's like winning.
That's fucking winning everything because this person went through male puberty, but now has female levels of hormones.
I don't really care,
but like has the physical geometry and construction that is, you benefited by male puberty, and is like fucking destroying everybody.
The only one that I care about is like in combat sports,
Right.
where
So
you're like physically. But here's what I'll say about all the other sports: they're fucking games. Shut the fuck. Who gives a shit about weightlifting?
right,
It's
but
a
that's
fucking
but that's the
game.
thing. That's the thing, Willows.
I
Like,
don't give a fuck about male soccer players. Who the fuck cares?
sure you don't, but like culture, like our cultural idols kind of dictate where the culture and the law and the society goes.
I idolize Kamala Harris.
Great. So you're gonna put a bunch of black people in jail.
True. She also was the
Knack.
she was the champion of keeping trans women in women prisons and stuff, like and opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kamala Harris is a piece of shit.
She's not great, but hey, she's better than fucking
Clinton.
no,
Clinton's probably killed more people than Kamala.
no, Pence.
No, I like Pence.
Okay.
Name one thing Pence did in 4 years.
Okay, you got me.
See?
You got me there. You got me there.
See?
You got
nobody can do it.
Yeah, you got the paycheck and didn't do anything
Yeah.
else. Yeah, great. Good for Pence.
And then Trump tried to make him a scapegoat right at the end.
Yeah, and he's still demagoguing Trump, which is
So
hilarious.
is
What a
he
cock.
still like an elected person?
No.
Pencer?
Wait, maybe? No.
I don't care.
No, he's not. No.
Who gives a shit?
No.
Just like Maxime Bernier here in Canada is just a citizen.
Yep.
People are like, "Oh, you're the best in politics." You're not in politics. You need to be elected to be in politics. Like,
Yeah, he's on the outside.
you
He didn't get reelected in his own district.
yeah, you're the leader of a party, I guess. But
Like
I guess I'm the leader of a party too.
if he was any good at politics, we're gonna switch to Maxime Bernier segment here. If he was
I'll
any
hold
good
my
at
tongue.
politics, he would have run in a district he could have won.
I'll hold my tongue.
And if you voted for Bernier, I'm sorry, but you haven't been paying attention. He's not your guy. I know you want a guy. I know you want a libertarian. I know you want that representation, but I'm sorry, Bernier is not your guy.
Tim Moen, 2024.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the leader of the Canadian Libertarian Party.
Oh,
He wanted me to actually run as a libertarian in Manitoba.
do it.
I have him on Facebook. He's seems like a pretty reasonable guy. He's a firefighter by trade.
Okay. Firefighters are pretty good people.
And yeah, I would put firefighters up there with people. No one made a song ever called "Fuck the Fire Department," right?
No.
So
They literally, the only thing they do is help people.
literally the opposite of cops.
Yeah.
And the reason why libertarians will never win in this country is because his philosophy, and I think the party's philosophy, is like, how do I become a libertarian member of parliament? And they're like, well, you're a libertarian, figure it the fuck out. Is pretty much the party's official stance. But it's more of a protest vote than anything, right? They're basically saying this entire system's fucked, fuck you. That's the existence of the party.
Which is perfect for you.
It's my favorite was the Rhinoceros Party.
Okay.
It's a real party in Canada.
It's like the Flying Spaghetti Monster cult.
Kind of, yeah. The Rhinoceros Party was good. It was like a protest vote that like was just ridiculous. But yeah, the Flying Spaghetti Monster cult. I don't know, it's a religion of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster in Australia, I think. Because anyone who's a registered member of them can wear a colander on their head for their license pictures. Because it's a religious headwear.
For sure.
And they do, and it's so funny. And
love
it went to like the Supreme Court of Australia, and they were like, yeah,
They upheld it.
if it's a real fucking religion, then I guess you have to. And they're like, well, it's not. And they're like, did you just say that's not? And then
Validated religion for me.
A bunch of these people in Australia have a colander on their head in their like passport pictures and shit because it's their religious headgear. And it was like upheld. Yeah, it's so funny.
I fucking love it.
Yeah. Well, and it's like in Canada, Hutterites don't have to get their pictures taken for ID.
Yeah.
They can just get ID that doesn't have a picture, which is like, okay, like I guess.
That's fine.
Because they think cameras steal their souls.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I heard that one. My grandma believed that.
okay. So the Supreme Court of Canada ruled that they don't have to get their photos taken for government ID.
My grandma also believed that TV was like actual small people inside, like doing shit.
Couldn't you just break it open and prove to her that it wasn't?
Why would you break your TV? That costs a lot of money.
Like, I guess.
It was really expensive.
She really thought there were small people
Yeah.
inside the TV?
Yep.
That's psychosis.
Yeah, till she died.
That's fucking...
Well, she also grew up with a dirt floor, tin roof, and no running water, and a horse and buggy.
Tiny people in the TV?
Now, also no education.
What do they eat? Like, think about this
Electricity?
Think about this for literally half a second.
What are calories?
I don't know. What do I look like, a fucking scientist?
Exactly. You're already further than she's ever thought.
I remember my...
for the record, I never met her. She died very young.
My baba, my great-grandmother on my mother's side, was a Ukrainian immigrant. One time all the family got together and bought her a microwave in like the 80s.
And she never used it?
No, she threw it out.
Better.
So it was in the garbage can, like sticking out, right? And one of them goes over there, like one of her kids. She had a lot of kids. One of their kids, my grandfather, I think, went over there and was like, "Mom, like, it costs a lot of fucking money. Like, we all pitched to get you that. Come on." And she's like, "You're not gonna kill me with radiation. I'm gonna stay in this fucking house. Like, you're not gonna get me."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but that's more plausible.
Everyone's got a red line.
That's more plausible. That she also she had a stove that was probably like 3 burners, like a tiny little stove, and 1 shelf in an oven. And she used to make fucking Ukrainian Christmas dinner for like 75 people.
Yeah.
By herself.
Amazing.
And timed everything so it all come out warm. And it's like, how did you do this? Like,
Yeah.
I don't...
It's physically impossible.
How did you make 30 dishes? Like, you literally could not have, but she did every year.
So what I was going to bring up is the birds aren't... You know the birds aren't real movement?
I do. I'm very familiar.
Okay, so...
That guy's fucking funny.
Like, the fact that it's entirely parody.
Yeah.
Is amazing. Like,
but he sticks to his guns.
I love his story. His character, when he's in character, he sticks to his guns. But he broke character for the New York Times
No,
recently.
but you see him get interviewed? And then he, like, starts coughing. he's like, and he's like, ah!
Oh, yeah.
He's like, they, like, cut from him.
He, like, spit his coffee out.
Oh,
and
it's
was,
so
like,
funny.
fucking dying.
He's so funny.
So this interview was done shortly after that.
Okay.
Like, days.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
I really want to do something like that. I want to be able to make fun of, but I'm not funny enough. Like, I think maybe JL could pull this off.
And this, for people that don't know, this is a guy who has a van wrapped that says birds aren't real. It's a government conspiracy. And he claims that birds are government surveillance drones.
Yeah, and they're like... Well,
have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
No.
Exactly. Because they're fucking government. And then COVID was so they could recharge all the batteries.
No. Here's the recharge batteries thing. They're like, okay, so these birds are powered by what? They're like, well, batteries. It's like, okay, so you want to charge all these batteries. What do? It's like...
Get them to land on power lines.
It's like, so we create a national network of lines that carry electricity. They're high up in the air.
and birds
land on them. And you're like, oh my God, it makes sense.
Oh, it's so
like,
funny.
he does shit like this. It's fucking brilliant.
He just drives around with a megaphone out the window of his van going, "Birds are not real. You've been deceived." Like,
so his entire mission is the fact that there's a lot of people out there that cannot identify with BLM. They cannot identify with Antifa. They cannot identify with the fucking trucker convoy.
Well, I don't like the leaders of Antifa.
Right. So he wants to capture the people that, like, they want to identify with something, and that desire and that need to find community would either lead them into extremism in either direction, but instead leads them to birds aren't real.
Yeah, and I think
but they know it. But everyone knows it's parody.
When I think a lot of it is like just proving how ridiculous like fake news is.
Right, but no, the way that he defined it was it's a creation of community for people that are trying to not get radicalized.
Okay, yeah.
They would rather latch onto something that they know isn't real.
I kind of believe it.
Right, and it's like it's a funny thing where it's like you want to entertain it and you want to go march about it and you want to go like the way they've used it is like kill them with comedy.
Yeah.
So they go to these far right protests, and as much as I love Antifa, they go and fight fascists. Good for them. The birds aren't real guys are the ones that have got it right.
Yeah.
They go to a fascist protest, for example, they go to like an abortion clinic where all these guys are, marching around with their signs like you're fucking you're genociding fetuses and this super hateful shit, and they're screaming at people and, hating these young girls that need to get an abortion. And the birds aren't real guys show up. Like, birds aren't real. Fuck the government. Ever seen a pigeon, baby? Like, it's like tear down the power lines. And they just join the protest. An hour, maybe two, and all the anti-abortionist guys leave.
Because they don't want to be associated with the birds aren't real people?
Yeah. Because it's absurd. Like, they bring absurdity
to politics.
To politics
Yeah.
and make everyone feel stupid and, like, stop fighting.
Do you know who
which is genius.
Do you know who Vermin Supreme is?
No. Oh, wait. Yes.
I'll show you a video if you don't, but Google Vermin Supreme. He's run in every presidential election for, like, since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
He has this big, long wizard beard.
Yep.
He wears a boot on his head. And so he was in a... basically he runs because he's trying to prove, he's an anarchist who's trying to prove that the government is just, this is all facade, like elections are fake, like it's all whatever. But so his like official platform is that he'll give every American a pony.
Yeah.
And you have to have your pony with you at all times.
Yeah.
There's what he created he wants to create a secret teeth brushing police that can break into your house at night to see if you flossed. Someone asked, and he gets enough votes or whatever that they let him participate in these local debates.
Yeah.
With like, and it was like he was with like fucking like Ted Cruz debating him one time.
Oh, that's amazing.
And he was like, Mr. Supreme, you have 60 seconds for closing statements. And he takes his phone and puts the chicken dance to the mic. Like, da na 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 na. And he's like, vote for me, but whatever, blah, blah. And he's like, and now I'm going to turn Ted Cruz gay. And he takes like fucking glitter out of his pocket. He's like, whoa, he's turning gay. Like, so he does shit like that.
That's amazing.
And then one time,
Ted Cruz is gay for the record.
So they asked him,
here first.
or it may have been Marco Rubio, but someone like that. But anyway, and then someone asked him,
also Ted Cruz is gay.
They're like, what's your energy policy, Mr. Supreme? You have like 90 seconds, right? He's like, well, I think we should be harnessing the awesome power of zombies. We should put them on treadmills and then dangle brains ahead of them, and then they'll run forever. Like, I find a flaw in my logic. Like, yeah. So he does shit like this, but he's just so deadpan, and he has this rain boot on his head. Like, and it's just, he's fucking ridiculous. But he's been running in like every election for 40 years.
A beauty.
Just to, Vermin Supreme's and every time a politician dies, he retweets it and said, I beat whoever that person is. It's so
it's like outlasted.
Yeah, he's like, I beat Herman Cain. Like all this, like every time someone on left and right dies.
Amazing.
Vermin Supreme's a fucking beauty. But
okay, so to close out this podcast, vote Vermin Supreme.
Yeah, well, I guess we have a last segment here
tip
called
of the week.
Thank you,
Top
Tyler.
of the morning.
The tip of the week segment that we give a tip that we are currently going through in life and business. If you want Vote Vermin Supreme to be your tip of the week, I will allow it this one time.
I'm gonna say that's my actual tip of the week is Vote Vermin Supreme.
And then your fake one.
My fake one is currently we're transitioning. I mean, if you're local, which is probably not true, but globally, we're transitioning into living with a virus versus being fucking afraid of the virus. And if you've been to this point, quote, following the science or believing in the science, continue to do so. And if you think mask mandates do anything, good for you. You're very optimistic. And vaccine mandates, also, props. You're very optimistic. And I think keep believing the best in human beings and the world. But unfortunately, the science doesn't support you. So fucking follow science, research.
You're alt-right is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. No, I'm gonna say, put your emotions aside because a lot of this stuff, a lot of these conversations, a lot of things I just said are probably emotionally triggering to people.
Yeah.
And
which is understandable after fucking 2 years in this shit.
Absolutely. I'm not saying your emotional trigger isn't valid. I'm saying you're going to be emotionally triggered by this stuff, and I was personally when this person said to me like I'm not going to go back to another restaurant because they had vaccine mandates. I got fucking angry.
Dude, I'll cringe when I see people without a mask right now, and I'm like, why am I doing that?
Yeah, it took me 4 hours to calm down after that. I had to consciously calm down
Yeah.
over a long period of time until I could think about it rationally.
Why do you give a shit what
and-
this person is doing?
And I'm incredibly level-headed,
Yeah, typically.
typically.
I'm the
So-
only person that can get you mad. You've said that on this podcast before.
Yes, you're right. Like, mad enough to say something. So, fucking check your emotions at the door and reevaluate the science, because while mask mandates had an impact, maybe they still do. It's marginal. While vaccines have an impact, it's marginal. Mostly it's personal benefit. And if you're vaccinated, great. You personally will benefit from it. And so be it. You cannot protect all the immunocompromised people out there by staying home because the infection rate's too high. And like, just think about it rationally. Check your emotions at the door. If it takes you a couple weeks, that's fine. If you're not comfortable with it right away, that's okay. Introduce yourself slowly, whatever it takes. But fucking follow the science. Don't live in fear. And for all you people that are just purely politically motivated and not thinking about the rationally, just go fuck yourself, and that's okay.
So
Willows?
Tyler's all right now.
Yep. No, I'm fucking alt-center.
Alt-center, new political philosophy.
Alt-center, hard left, but also kind of right.
That's our shirt of the week for alcoholbeyondthispoint.com. You can buy alt-center shirt.
That would be amazing. I'm alt-center.
So I will just piggyback on you, but I will switch it to a business sense.
Yep.
For my tip of the week is exactly what I've been fucking thinking of all week, is that some of my customers want me to keep the restrictions. Some of them want me to get rid of it. The government wants me to do one thing. My employees want me to do one thing. And I guess my tip is there's no correct answer for anyone. Like, I know that like people like to paint with a big brush that's like everyone who doesn't get vaccinated is a fucking, wants my grandma to die. And everyone who does get vaccinated is a fucking, beta cuck that's getting fucking manipulated by Biden and whoever, right? By the fucking Jewish cabal. But there's no right answer for you specifically. And what I would do personally, what I have been doing is ask your industry, ask other people in your industry, ask your friends that have businesses, ask your customers, poll them, do a fucking social media post, and ask your employees. And kind of see where everyone's head's at, and maybe kind of see why, like exactly what Tyler's been talking about with like, okay, well, why are people scared to go out? Are they, are they actually immunocompromised? Are they scared for a different reason, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Figure out that, gauge it all in your response, and kind of come to that's how we do fucking business, right? We take all the numbers in front of you, digest it all, and then make a decision based on that.
Also, be aware of the built-in bias of a poll, of people that respond to the polls, or probably people that are more emotionally charged in a direction or another. And also be aware of if your employees are afraid and they express resistance to
You're the boss.
idea.
Make them fucking work.
No.
Tell them they have to be sneezed on at least once a shift,
True.
or else they're fired.
And then sneeze on them.
And then sneeze on them yourself.
Yep.
And get a fucking HR complaint, and then you turn around and the HR person is you in a wig, and you're like, ha
In a different top hat.
in a different flavored. I actually do own 2 top hats.
Wow. I would say be aware that your leadership counts for something, and leading by example does count for something, and being brave ahead of people that don't yet want to be brave.
Not being scared might make your employees not scared either.
Right.
That's actually a good tip.
So I don't while I understand that polling and listening to and speaking to your employees is valuable, creating an environment where you can be a non-toxic version, that is the hard caveat of this.
Well, I guess think about polling your fucking business, your employees with every decision you make.
Right.
How often would they be like, no, we shouldn't do that?
Right.
And it's like, well,
Exactly.
that was the right decision. So
Leadership counts for something.
I agree.
And setting a good example counts for something. And just being like, you know what, we follow the science, and this is why. And if you're uncomfortable with it, I understand. But you know what, this is the way.
Go
things
back
are.
on fucking stimulus and stay home then.
In a less hostile way. But
That's why people
essentially.
aren't working. because they're just sitting at home on stimulus.
Well, that's why you work, because you're trying not to die.
Wait. No, I want to die.
It's like the people being like, oh, so you have free healthcare? So what's preventing you from just like yeeting yourself off a cliff? It's like,
Just to get free healthcare.
yeah, it's like, well, you're telling me you don't eat yourself off a cliff simply because it's expensive? It's the same argument against UBI of if people don't have a fine. This is the capitalist like narrative, is if you don't have the fear of death, you will not work. But ask anyone who makes more than a living wage, why do you work this much? You could work half as much and make a living wage and not die. Why do you work so much? It's like, well, because I love my job, or because I'm trying to advance, or because like I'm trying to be the best. It's like that calculus doesn't change with the number.
My dog gets ear infections,
right.
so I need to buy expensive medicine.
There is, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You're just fucking low on that list, and if you don't know what that means, do some research and go fuck yourself, and good luck.
I love you, audience. I respect every one of your decisions.
I respect like 40% of you, statistically.
Anyway, we're gonna finish off by taking another shot, which is the last of the extra fireball. So that means we can fucking shoot something different next episode. Finally,
there's still 3/4 of a bottle of fireball.
No, that's the different one. I was just trying to get rid of this one.
Okay.
Okay. Goodbye.
Shots.
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.